Hey, greetings everybody. This is John Muka. I'm a lifetime Hamilton resident, and since about March I've been taking a great interest in the Hamilton School District's plans for the strategic development of some of the facilities. The main focus these days has been the Robinson Elementary School, where under consideration is a 48,000 square foot approximately two-story addition to the Robinson School to give us a capacity of 350 more pre-K students in Hamilton. Now, pre-K space is very valued by most parents these days, and there's a lot to be said in favor of adding this to our school system. But the problem is we're getting bogged down right now in an all-or-nothing conversation, and indeed it begins to become an argument. So we only have this one choice of moving forward, which is the 48,000 square foot building adjacent to the current Robinson facility, which kind of doubles the number of students in this one place. So we can either do everything right at Robinson, or we're left with the other choices that do nothing. And people don't want to do nothing, and some people don't want to do nothing, and some people don't want to do all of this in one place. So in order to try to get beyond this all or nothing argument that we're in, why don't we develop a third option here? An option that's somewhere between the 48,000 square feet all in one place and distributing it among maybe 3 sites, just to keep it simple. Now, just a little bit of background. This whole project had its genesis in May of 2023. Our superintendent and our school board and our administration very alertly stepped up to try to get some state money that had just become available, funding new facilities to expand the capacity of pre-K throughout the state of New Jersey. A limited amount of funds, and fortunately we got right to the front of the line and got some submissions in to do that. It came down to 3 buildings, the municipal building and the Park Avenue existing buildings, which are being retired from use for the public and could be made available for pre-K, and then the Robinson location, the elementary school on Gropp Avenue. So that was submitted in May of 2023. The project was $30 million total, $12 million or 40% paid by the state, along with the funds from Hamilton, $18 million for the other 60%. Now, a year and a half goes by, 18 months. And finally, the state gets around to answering. And what they said was good news and bad news. So the good news is the Robinson project was approved, just as stated, for $30 million. The bad news is they declined the other 2 projects. So now we're left with just one place to put the 48,000 square feet of additional pre-K space. And as we got into it in January, it seemed obvious we should go after the $12 million and build this building at Robinson. And there's some deadlines involved in when it has to be finished, so that there's a sense of urgency about this whole thing right now. And we're headed in that direction at the moment. So again, the idea is the 48,000 square foot essentially for 350 students. It works out to a cost of $629 per square foot, and that adds up to the $30 million project. What we need is a plan B. So here's a suggestion. Why don't we plan to do 3 sites, continuing to use Robinson as the largest piece of that, but reduce the footprint or reduce the total space there because it's a 2-story building, and put it up at at 2 other of the best elementary school locations. So we can take that from a 2-story building all at Robinson and spread 24,000 feet stays at Robinson, 12,000 each at 2 other elementary schools. The cost of single-story construction seems to be less at 509 square feet. So that's $120 per square foot cheaper to spread this out among the 3 sites. So we end up with spending the $18 million of the Hamilton funds plus $6 million of the state funds to pay for that 4,800 or 47,700 square feet at $120 less than doing it as a 2-story building. So that has the impact of basically saying we'll take half of the state funds and we'll use our $18 million of local money to pay for this somewhat decentralized approach. So now we have another choice. And I'd like you to consider that seriously as we get into some discussions on this, because time is running very quickly here. We're kind of thinking that the traffic study was going to be finished for the single building at Robinson sometime before the next school board meeting. But in order for us to have a meaningful choice, we're going to have a traffic study to include what we're talking about here in Plan B. So that is something that's going to take a little bit of ingenuity to get this done. It should be talked over with the local residents that are affected, and maybe there's a vote that takes place at the school board meeting on May the 28th. So where are we going to put the other 12,000 square feet in these two sites here to make up the other half of the Robinson space? Well, even the facility strategic plan says that 15 of our schools can have some type of expansion and 5 schools cannot. So therefore, there's some opportunities here if we take a look. And we only need 2 other sites. So looking at the list of what's possible in the facilities plan, we can pick out maybe the 4 best candidates to be considered for this and pick the 2 best out of the 4. So if you look at the satellite view of Alexander Elementary, there seems to be some possibilities. And again, remember, it's half of the size of the footprint that the architects have designed for Robinson at putting all 48,000 feet there. So it's a 2-story building, 24,000 square feet in the basic footprint. Cut that in half, and now we're talking half of that footprint at Alexander Elementary. Or certainly University Heights is a possibility. It looks like there's a lot of space there for this. Morgan Elementary has some possibilities, and Langtree also has some opportunity to put a 12,000-foot pre-K extension on a building. So let's give this new choice here the respect that I think it really deserves in our consideration. And let's try to figure this out, price it out, figure out the traffic impact, the busing impact, all the costs that go with it, and let's do this as quickly as we have to try to get this decision made in a very reasonable way and in a very rational way. So that's what I have. I appreciate you taking some time to take a look at this. This is just the summary of where we're headed with a Plan B to do a comparison to the Robinson-only approach. Look forward to talking to you more about it, and have a great day, and appreciate the attention.